Minnesota Monday night at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, home of the Arizona Cardinals. No word yet on when the NFL might make that decision. The Chargers donated $200,000 for relief efforts to help people impacted by the fires. Clippers star Kawhi Leonard was given permission to leave the team in Denver Wednesday afternoon to be with his family. Leonard has a home in Pacific Palisades, one of the areas hardest hit by the wildfires. Residents in Pacific Palisades have been advised to evacuate. The LA Kings hockey game Wednesday night at Crypto.com against Calgary was postponed. The Lakers are scheduled to play at Crypto tonight against Charlotte. The NBA has yet to confirm whether the game will be played. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ow! Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Get out the way. Move.
First things first with Dominique DePrima at 6 a.m. Tavis Smiley at 9 a.m. Truth Time with Dr. Cornell West and Nina Turner at 12 noon. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show at 1 p.m. The D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show at 2 p.m. A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nee Quarterly Quartet at 4 p.m. Here they come, y'all. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way.
Tune in weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for the Talk of the Town. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Here they come, y'all. Here they come.
Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. Take me back to LA. I've laughed and I've cried. I've lived and I've died. Stole from, gambled and cheated. Cut corners outside. I've tried and I failed. Stood tall when they run. I fought a cold war in the dead of the hot sun. Now take me back to LA. Where the weather is good. Take me back to LA. Don't wanna give the road a second.
KBLA Talk 1580. Yeah, we're standing strong. We're still here. It is devastating, but we're still here. And not everybody is prioritizing tweeting and complaining and attacking over being neighborly and lending a hand. There are shelters opening all over the place for folks that need to evacuate. Animal shelters, these videos that I'm seeing on socials of the Compton Cowboys rescuing horses. Very heroic. There's heroic and beautiful things happening in the middle of tragedy, which is something I've seen throughout my life. I've been in a lot of earthquakes, mostly earthquakes, but other tragic situations. What I find is that folks typically do step up. And we need to keep that spirit of kindness, neighborliness, and not get sucked in by all these whiny billionaires who have their own agenda and are using human tragedy as an opportunity or a step ladder up to their own ambitions. I got a report, this coming from Paul Lee, said he just left the gym at 120th and Crenshaw, and there's also some video on Facebook. I haven't been able to verify it beyond that there appears to be a fire at the freeway entrance there. I feel confident the LA Fire Department will put it out quickly, but one wonders if people are starting blazes or what's happening with, but it's hard to tell, right? Because these embers, the little bits of fire, travel in the wind and they can land in these very dry conditions that we're currently in, not having had any significant rain the entire fire season. And we're also coming out of a period last year of heavy rain. So there's a lot of brush, and a lot of that brush is dry. So one little spark can start another huge fire, and the wind is carrying these embers. So we're in a situation where the danger is high and it's unusual. Over here in the Crenshaw area, the wind was much calmer yesterday, but we're on high wind and fire conditions, exceptionally bad fire conditions through Friday. Although some of that information is continuously changing. The air feels much more toxic right now, and that's partly because of the Sunset Fire, which is relatively new, which is much closer to South LA and sort of the main center of the city, the flats. The flats where we, if we, have, when we think about fires, we think about the hills. I do. I think about the Angeles Forest and Malibu. And so what makes this exceptionally scary is that it's hitting more areas that are not remote. Okay, so now I'm hearing that perhaps that video on Facebook may not be real, and hopefully it's not. If you're over that way, 120th and Crenshaw, I'd love to hear what you're seeing, because I haven't been able to verify it, and it's not on the app Watch Duty, which has been very good. It's about aggregating data that's available. It's a nonprofit. I put that on my phone a couple days ago. And, of course, the LAFD website doesn't report it either, so that may be a false alarm. However, whether it is or whether it isn't, it's a good day to stay in. If you can work from home, if you can get a chance to not do that errand that you needed to do, hold off on it for a few days, it'd be better for your body. Think about it. If a refrigerator burned, the fumes from that refrigerator are in the air. Do you want to breathe in a whole refrigerator? No, you don't. And there's all kinds of gases and chemicals and liquids and whole houses. I mean, everything that's in a house is currently in the air. And so returning to wearing a mask would be a great idea if you can convince yourself to do it. It's not good for our bodies. I know we'll hear more from Queen Afua about what we can do, but one herbalist friend of mine said that taking in peppermint tea is a great idea right now for the respiratory system, and marshmallow tea, because they support lung health. And you can also take chamomile tea bags or compresses and put them over your eyes to soothe them if they're irritated from the smoke and the environment here. I'm wondering why these news agencies, we know why Fox News does it, but why does Spectrum? Why does KNX? Why do these news stations, why are they giving so much airtime to Rick Caruso? I don't get it. He's not the fire chief. He's not a safety official. He's not with the LADWP. He is most definitely not the mayor. So you're putting someone with an axe to grind, a sore loser with an axe to grind, who has opened a Democratic, and I put Democratic in air quotes because he was a Republican until 10 minutes ago, committee together to run for something, either governor or mayor. So you're giving him a free platform for his grievances, gripes, and his nascent campaign, and letting him take shots at our sitting mayor, who's been doing a great job so far. Yes, I'd love to see more progressive wins, but she's come through in emergencies. That freeway fire, she's been in constant contact, as has been verified by the Department of Water and Power and the Fire Department, and even the Sheriff's Department, in managing this crisis while in transit, which is something lawmakers do all the time. So why? What is the justification? He gets a platform because he's a billionaire. I don't hear you guys calling me and putting me on the television and your news programs. As the owner of the paper of record, the LA Times, another one of these South African broligarchs, billionaire from South Africa, attacks a black woman in leadership. He says, the water, the malfunctioning of the fire hydrants raises questions and competence matters. But this is the same guy who said he's going to put a bias meter on his paper. The LA Times, which has historically been very biased against black and Latino leaders, lawmakers in particular. This is something I've been noticing and complaining about, pointing out, as is my job, literally for decades. They love taking down black leaders. There's my bias meter. But this man, this billionaire, South African, who owns our paper of record, is tweeting in that competence matters, implying that somehow some actions of the mayor have something to do with fire hydrants, which is something you have no proof of, nor any data about, nor has there been an investigation. That, my friends, is classic bias. Character assassination, jumping to conclusions, that is a problem. And that's why it is a problem that these whiny billionaires are gobbling up newspapers. I used to think it wasn't such an issue that Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, because I happen to like the Washington Post. I think it's a good paper with a lot of talented writers. And I think intermittently the LA Times does a great job too. I say intermittently because there are some writers and some important coverage that I've seen them do that I appreciate. I'm a subscriber and I haven't dropped my subscription because it's my job to know what the heck is going on here. But the bias, particularly with black leadership, is astounding. The fact that they decide that they can designate who they call a civil rights leader and copiously quote them, never mind the fact that they don't lead anybody and have done nothing for civil rights, nor are they recognized in our communities as such, but they feel they have the power to designate that. The fact that I've called to complain or emailed to complain about certain articles that were off base and been responded to by a writer who lives on the East Coast and doesn't know one street from another, one neighborhood from another, but yet they're writing for the paper of record. And now if you go on this man, Patrick Chung-Chung's Twitter, you can see that he's very biased. And so I want us the progressives, us the conscious, to, yes, okay, I'm not saying don't use your critical thinking hat. I'm not saying that at all. I always want us to do that. But why are you piling on and amen cornering at a moment in time where we need to be pitching in? Rick Caruso, if you're so worried about the incredible devastation that's taking place from Pasadena to Palisades, once you ante up some of those billions of dollars that you have, once you use some of your expertise as a developer, which is what you actually do for a living, Republican or Democrat, and help some people dig out, rebuild, figure it out, figure out the insurance debacle. You know, as insurance companies always, they start to get real shady when it's time to pay the piper. I'm sure you have a lot of expertise in that. Why don't you do that? Set up an insurance command center. No, this is how you help. You want to talk smack about the mayor. And why is our local media enabling that? I get the foreign reporter who wants to go viral, so he attacks our mayor with a lot of gotcha questions that are completely irrelevant. He's yelling at the mayor, do you owe your citizens an apology? What? An apology? Because we're in the middle of a climate emergency that's causing an unprecedented wind and firestorm in our city that our firefighters are doing an amazing job responding to? That's your question? And that was clearly a hit job. I'm not sure why that person had access to our mayor. And I do think it's normal that the mayor would want to address her own city and her own media before talking to you, bozo. But nevertheless, that was, that's going to be problematic. It's going to be damaging. Why are we piling on now? Why are we letting the big sore loser have the bully pulpit? I don't get it. Is that responsible journalism? Is that what we're meant to do? Aren't we supposed to put qualified experts on the air? Not just any old person with an axe to grind? Asking for a friend. 5 people dead, 2,000 built, 2,000 structures burnt. One of the most destructive fires in our history, and you think the best thing to do is attack this black woman leader who is doing her job. It's a day of mourning nationally as we lay to rest a president who actually had a moral compass, one that could make a person nostalgic. All 5 living presidents to paying tribute to Jimmy Carter, who passed on, President James Carter, who passed on December 29th. We'll talk about that and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Somebody bring out the confetti, baby!
Starting Monday, January 6th, KBLA Talk 1580 has a new midday lineup.
I'm excited.
Are you ready for Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornel West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, and E. Quarterly Corte back-to-back?
Oh, my God.
Are you really ready for all this smoke?
I'm ready, brother.
Yes, we still have Dominique DePrima in the mornings and Zoe Williams in the evenings, but middays just got lit on KBLA Talk 1580.
We on fire.
All across America, people are talking about our new midday lineup. Starting Monday, January 6th, our KBLA 1580 app downloads are on fire because everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yes, I love you guys. You are the bomb.
Now would be a good time to hit up SMB at KBLA1580.com if you want folks to hear about your business or brand. That's SMB at KBLA1580.com. It's going up in 2025 on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's going up.
That's what I want.
If you need up to $3,000, go to WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com is the name you can trust. It's free to use, available 24/7, and you are never required to accept any loan offer. Some lenders offer same-day funding. If you need up to $3,000, type WeFixMoney.com directly into your browser. WeFixMoney.com has been helping customers for 15 years and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. So, if you need cash for credit card bills, car repairs, child care, or anything else, go to WeFixMoney.com. Make sure you type WeFixMoney.com directly in your browser. Go to the company you trust, WeFixMoney.com. Just fill in the information and get an answer in minutes at WeFixMoney.com. For up to $3,000, go to WeFixMoney.com. That's WeFixMoney.com.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, vendors, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And as I stated, this is the final sort of tribute on the national stage to President Jimmy Carter. The funeral service is underway. 5 living presidents are in attendance. And this has been declared a national day of mourning. It's a state funeral for the former president. After this, that's been part of a long series of tributes to him, as is fitting, someone who served our country and was the oldest living president at 100. He will be transported back to Georgia. There will be a private ceremony, and then he'll be buried in Plains, Georgia, the tiny town from whence he came, next to his beloved wife. This is at the National Cathedral, which, of course, this National Day of Mourning was declared by our still sitting president, Joe Biden. The president-elect is there as a former president. And it's so ironic the way this is just laying out, because it seems like a president who was ahead of his time in terms of addressing the climate emergency and putting solar panels on the White House, which were later taken down by a Republican president, I believe it was Reagan, is being laid to rest in the national ceremony as Southern California is in flames, largely due to the climate emergency, which is something the news doesn't seem to care to note. The fact that we have drier and weirder seasonal climate here in California and around the world, the fact that we have more windstorms and firestorms and hurricanes, the fact that we are seeing the real human impact of this climate emergency. And we're laying Jimmy Carter to rest, a man known for being humble and not embracing the pomp and circumstance of the presidency. Being laid to rest at a time when we are just 11 days away from admitting the most blatantly imperial president that I know of in our history. Maybe I'm missing somebody. I don't claim to be having checked the pomp and circumstance meter of every president, but I believe the president-elect is the only one who had a golden potty. And I feel like it's a great moment to reflect on what we have been and what we can be. I do not think that MAGA is forever. I think it's a moment. I grant you it's a long moment and an ugly one. But I do think it's a moment. I don't think it's a real movement. I don't think it's a real reflection of who we are as human beings or Americans. And the rise of fascism, white supremacy, and oligarchy is not just limited to the United States. It's something that's infecting our globe and our planet. And hopefully maybe these tributes to Jimmy Carter and the work that he did, both as president and post-presidency, will awaken these better angels, will awaken our optimism, our inner moral compass, our roots of being from the land and being neighborly, and our spirituality being a way to connect with compassion, service, humanity, instead of being a cudgel that we use to bludgeon others and force them to heal. Rest in peace to a great president who, yeah, I get that as one of the scholars pointed out, it's not coming to my mind right this second. Oh, it was actually Sharon Kyle from the LA Progressive, that he could have done more earlier to take on segregation and racism. I get that we're talking about a president of the United States, and that job automatically comes with upholding and carrying on certain destructive traditions. But this is a man who showed us the best of who we are and could be in this country in some ways, in official circles. And I hope that, if nothing else, these tributes for those younger folks who are not as familiar with his legacy, his work, his way of being, and have only seen him as just simply a one-term president, there will be a moment, a reminder to look back and acquaint ourselves with certain history, and perhaps be a foreshadowing of a return to some kind of decency, some kind of actual moral compass, some standards, right? There was a time not long ago, long after Carter left the White House, where being a liar, a cheater, a sexual assaulter meant there was no way you would make it to the presidency if people knew. Maybe we can get back to that. Rest in peace, Jimmy Carter. KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The Palisades fire has burned over 17,000 acres in West Los Angeles and remains uncontained. The wildfire, which has been burning since Tuesday morning, has destroyed about 1,000 buildings so far. A former FBI informant will serve 6 years in prison for lying about President Biden and his son Hunter Biden's dealings with a Ukrainian energy company. Alexander Smirnov was sentenced Wednesday after pleading guilty last month to making up a story that executives at Burisma Holdings paid bribes to the Bidens. The crowdsourcing website GoFundMe has launched an initiative to help California wildfire victims. The site launched a centralized hub where anyone can donate to verified fundraisers via the California Wildfire Relief Hub. And a strike has been averted by the International Longshoremen's Association after it tentatively agreed to a new 6-year contract. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Nearly 3,000 teen drivers die in car crashes each year. Tire Rack Street Survival is designed to save lives. The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL has a contingency plan to move the Rams playoff game Monday night because of the wildfires in the Los Angeles area. If the air quality continues to be unsafe, the Rams will play Minnesota Monday night at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, home of the Arizona Cardinals. No word yet on when the NFL might make that decision. The Chargers donated $200,000 for relief efforts to help people impacted by the fires. Clippers star Kawhi Leonard was given permission to leave the team in Denver Wednesday afternoon to be with his family. Leonard has a home in Pacific Palisades, one of the areas hardest hit by the wildfires. Residents in Pacific Palisades have been advised to evacuate. The LA Kings hockey game Wednesday night at Crypto.com against Calgary was postponed. The Lakers are scheduled to play at Crypto tonight against Charlotte. The NBA has yet to confirm whether the game will be played. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Fabrice.
Fabric Talk.
Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Fabrice Fabric Spray? Oh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Fabrice. La 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 la.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
You are, and as our 5 living presidents lay Jimmy Carter to rest with the National Day of Mourning, and currently Andrew Young delivering Anomaly, we turn to our situation here in the state of California, where we broadcast, Southern California to be specific. We are dealing with just unprecedented, and I know we say unprecedented a lot, but these heavy winds, the way these fires are spreading, have made them very intense and not like anything I've seen before. We are being joined by someone who's got more than 40 years of distinguished service in public safety and under his belt. He was previously the director of the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. And he's retired from that position. He is currently working as a consultant with Emergent Global Solutions. Mark Ghilarducci, welcome back.
Good morning. Happy to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to check in with you. I just used the word unprecedented. I know we throw that around a lot, but in your vast experience with these kinds of disasters, how do you see what's going on right now with this wind and fire here in Southern California?
Well, I have been in many fires in Southern California over my time and of course, throughout the state of California, and I've seen lots of devastating fires. The word unprecedented does apply here. It is a situation where it's not that we've not seen bad fires before, but the wind event that is driving these extreme winds and the sort of a climate-driven event that's pushing these fires, essentially unstoppable fires with high gust winds up to 100 miles an hour, some sustained at 60 and 80 miles an hour. As much as firefighters do, and we pre-position, and as much as firefighters are trying to do the best they can, it is essentially almost impossible to deal with wildfires that are moving at that speed and at that intensity. So yes, it is unprecedented. The number of fires across the land at the same time, all of them very, very significant. Any one of them on their own essentially would be a major disaster. And here you've got now 5 fires that are resulting in structure loss. And certainly from that context and the enormity of it in the LA basin, this is really an unbelievable situation.
And when I'm looking at the fire departments, LAFD and the LA County Fire Department websites, and I'm looking on this app, Watch Duty, and when I see repeatedly 0% containment to someone that's not an expert, it seems like, well, why isn't the fire department doing more? I feel like they're doing an amazing job. They've put out a number of blazes within the flatlands here very quickly. But I hear people on social media and some politicians and folks on TV pointing the fingers as if 0% containment means that we have an incompetent fire department or lawmakers.
Right. So very unfair assessment, and really it's a terminology issue. There's 2 kinds of ways the fire department looks at these fires, and each fire is its own incident. And so they have 2 terms: containment and control. Containment essentially is when they're able to get a complete line around the fire. The fire has been essentially contained in an area. They have been able to establish a black line, so to speak. It's an area that has been either burned out or they've been able to clear a pathway where they have the fire contained in an area, versus controlled, where the fire is essentially out. So you could get containment and not necessarily control, and control comes after that when they put the fire out. So it's important to understand that, right now, because of the winds and the way that the fires are moving so rapidly, it's almost impossible to put a full containment around. And so right now, firefighters are worried about and focused on a few things. One, they're focused on, as much, first of all, life saving, getting people out of harm's way and saving their lives. Secondly, is property protection. And, when the fire is blowing through at the intensity that it is, if homes are burning or starting to burn, firefighters will try, if the home has got defensible space, if it's savable, they'll take an effort to do it. If it's not, they're going to move to a home that is either not involved with fire and try to protect that home, and or if it's starting to get involved, try to put that fire out. The idea is that it's a little bit of a triage situation when it comes to the intensities of these kinds of fires. So eventually you'll start to see here when the winds die down, the fire department's making significant progress with getting containment lines, and you'll see the percentage of containment lines start to go up. But we got to get past these wind events that are just driving the firefighters to go from one incident to another.
And when we look at the conditions, the wind conditions, the two other things that I've heard, and I guess they're kind of critiques, is one that we've had problems with water pressure in some cases in the Palisades. We're hearing reports that the hydrants just went dry. And the other is that there's problems or challenges in dropping some flame retardants or even water from the air because of the winds and smoke. Can you illuminate those two issues?
Sure. Well, on the aircraft, that is accurate. I mean, you can imagine with that kind of wind, helicopters and aircraft tankers just simply cannot fly. They can't get to a place where they can drop the retardant. It's not safe to fly. And even if they were to try to get in there and they dropped water or retardant, the winds would just blow it to a place where it's not going to be effective. So, it becomes more of a ground ground operation at that point until the winds could die down to a level. It doesn't have to be no wind. So to be clear about that, and like last night, you saw that the fire that broke up and above the Hollywood Hills, that they even though it was windy, they were still able to get helicopters in there, and they were putting water on the fire from the air. That was an example of they'll take the risk when they can do it, and they will fight it from the air. Same thing with the air tankers. They were able to drop some retardant when they could, when the winds died down. There's windows between wind gusts that they can get the aircraft up. But so it's not that they're not using them. It's they have to use them in a safe and in a secure manner. And of course, it's not always just aircraft that fight the fire, right? It's a combination of partnership between the aircraft and the air teams and what's happening on the ground. The point of the water, I think that particular issue in Pacific Palisades, as I understand it, they've had long-standing issues with water pressure in that area, sort of at the end of the pipeline, so to speak. It's an older system there, but I think that one needs to look into this issue of the water pressure issue. I mean, I think when you look at on the front end of the fire, in the preparation of what was going on, I mean, so many firefighting assets were pre-positioned. In the case of the Pacific Palisades, they have large tanks, a number of big tanks that have water above, and they add to the water pressure. Those were million-gallon tanks. Those were topped off. They were filled. But when you see the amount of fire coming through, the intensity of individuals also taking their own personal hoses, trying to put the fires out around their homes or wetting their homes down, it rapidly dropped the water pressure. And I think that, things were happening so fast that they got to a point where the water was not available. I don't know all the details with that, and so it's hard for me to, give you a definitive answer. But I think it does need to be something that needs to be looked at because, water pressure just in general around any community is such an important commodity, and we always have to maintain and make sure that the water departments prioritize firefighting water. And if you could think about something that, while we're having all these fires in the LA basin under these conditions, and not to make people worry, but these things happen. Think about the big earthquake that will happen in the LA basin, and in those cases, you're going to have water lines that get broken, and we're going to have water problems, and you'll have fire following earthquake. So this is something that we need to make sure that there's resiliency built into the system, and that we're doing everything to ensure that that capability exists and is resilient when we need it.
What do you say to people, and I heard this a lot on social media, that how can we have a lack of water when we're so close to the ocean? Do firefighters use seawater to fight blazes?
They have. In the case of, we have some aircraft based in Los Angeles County. They're called super scoopers. You may have seen them. They fly along a lake and they suck the water out of the lake. They were using those aircraft, bringing water off of the ocean on these sets of fires when the planes could fly. And so they have been using those. There are systems, there are above ground water systems. In San Francisco, for example, they've got some capabilities to draft water out of for example, San Francisco Bay and use that to fight fires. Certainly they do have drafting capabilities on fire engines, but, a lot of that is getting the water from the ocean to the place where we need it. And but the short of the answer is certainly it can be used and it has been used.
Mm. Okay, well, there's a lot of good clarity coming out of this conversation, and as you can imagine, I have a few more questions for you when we come forward. Appreciate you. Mark Ghilarducci is my guest on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has a program specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to resolve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My mother faced the same challenges that I had growing up. She was smoking, so I started smoking too. My mom got sick. Seeing her on a breathing machine, I had to open my eyes. Do I want to be another product of my environment or help change the world?
Keenan ended the cycle of nicotine addiction in his family. You can too. For free support, text KICK Nicotine to 66819 today.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Mark Ghilarducci joining me. He is with Emergent Global Solutions, a former director of California's Office of Emergency Services. What should we be doing? You know, it's scary. It's scary being in LA, especially knowing that these embers can fly through the air and land anywhere, and we're in a very dry season. We've had no rain. What should we be doing? Should we be, watering down our houses, or digging up our plants, or getting our go bags, or like as an emergency services expert, what would you wish the public would do during times like this?
Well, I mean, certainly being prepared is where we want to get the public to. And that is really, you think about this, that the more you are aware of the risk that surrounds your home and your community, the more you prepare for that, the more empowered you are to be able to make the best decisions at the time of an emergency. And of course, living in California, and specifically in the Los Angeles basin, we're no stranger to, disaster situations. We've got fires and earthquakes and flooding, and, we've had all these events that have taken place over the course of the last few years. And, it is important that, everybody has an individual plan and a family plan. Where can your family, how do you communicate with each other in an emergency? Maybe there's a rallying point you want to get to that's pre-identified. Certainly you want to have items identified in your home that you want to grab, a go kit. You want to make sure you have things like, medications and important papers and documents about your home and your finances, maybe critical heirlooms or photos that you want to have ready to go. Certainly pets, and not just the pets, but pet food, know where they're at and how to get them rapidly. And do you have a carrier to move those pets or animals if you need to? Keep your vehicles fully tanked off, right? So that if you have to evacuate or move to another area, you've got a full tank of gas. Backup power for your devices, right? iPads and phones and other kinds of things that you absolutely are going to need to be able to get the information that the government and the local authorities are sending out. So you want to have backup power and then maybe emergency contacts. Maybe if the power goes out, you need to have flashlights, and you need to have that backup power to be able to communicate, and those emergency contacts, not just with your friends and family in the immediate area, but maybe someone out of the area that you can contact to make sure that everybody, depending on where they're at the time of an emergency, your family members can all call into one point, and you can ensure that you're all safe. So these are all things to think through. Lastly, I would think about when your family plan, if you had to evacuate, where would you go? What are some of the ways out of your neighborhood? And think about, what does it look like in the daytime? It may look different at nighttime to you. And so you want to think about that, and particularly if there's like a smoke situation where, it may be a little disorienting, you want to be able to have a couple of different ways that you practice. So practice makes perfect in these cases. And I know it sounds like, wow, I'm so busy. I got lots of things going on in my life. This is not something I need to do. But I will just tell you, in my experience and seeing this over and over again, on one emergency disaster after the other, the folks that have planned and prepared and sort of practiced do far better after these events happen than people who don't. So I highly recommend that would be something, and you can make a game out of it actually with your family as part of your day-to-day living experience.
Okay, we've got a call coming in from Trevor from Culver City. Good morning, Trevor. You're on with Mark Ghilarducci on KBLA.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. Right now, we cannot find my relative, and we fear he's dead.
Oh, no.
Because of these fires. I know that you and I disagree, and I'm about to say something that's controversial. But DEI should stand for DIE, because the policies of DEI have caused death.
Why do you blame DEI? This is what Elon Musk is tweeting, that because we have a woman fire chief in LA city, and we have a man fire chief in LA County, that because we have a black woman mayor, that is why we have these fires. And it just, I don't get it. Other than racism and sexism, I can't think of another justification for saying that.
Okay. Well, I'm not a racist and I'm not a sexist and I don't follow Elon Musk. So let me throw that out there. The policies of DEI result in death. It's happened on the border. It's happened with these fires. We have a mayor here in Los Angeles that clearly cannot answer questions when she's been asked questions. Was not a right-wing.
Trevor, I'm really sorry about your relative. And I don't think it's fair to attack the mayor or diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I haven't heard any facts in what you've said to support that. But we're close to the top of the hour, so I don't know if our guest wants to respond to his concerns.
Well, my response is that I've certainly worked with all men, women in this line of work, and work with government officials that are men and women. I think that the circumstances that we're facing are very challenging circumstances for anyone with any level of experience. And I think it's been all hands on deck. And I think right now these sort of pointing of fingers, and even what the president-elect is saying and doing without having all the facts is just not fair. And quite frankly, it's counterproductive to really what we're doing. And it's a diversion of focusing on what the key issues are here, and that is saving as many lives and property as possible.
Trevor, if there's anything we can do to help you find your loved ones or find out the facts, I'm here for that. What would you do? I mean, as far as if we're trying to find someone or find out something, where would you turn?
Well, the American Red Cross has a really very robust system for doing individual tracking, and I would suggest to reach out to the American Red Cross. There, you can go online to their website, and there is a button you can get on there and look for, put your loved one's name in, and it's a registry. They can start to track and help you track for individuals.
Okay, I really appreciate your taking time out with us today. We've got about a minute left here. Mark Ghilarducci, what would you want to leave us with, that impression in this moment in time?
Well, let me just go back just quickly, because at the break I looked at containment numbers for this morning, and there is containment that's starting on some of these fires. The Hearst fire is at 10% containment, and the Lydia fire is at 40% containment. So they're trying to make progress where they can when the winds die down. I would just say this: look, we're not out of this window yet. We're going to have more winds tonight and up through Friday, and I think we're not going to be in a place where we can make huge progress until the weekend and into next week. But once that happens, I think you'll see a rapid turnaround of this fire activity, and then of course we're going to have to work together as a community. This is really one team, one fight effort. It's a whole of community, public, private, non-governmental, faith-based. All of us as a community coming together, working together in a positive way to deal with the situation, because it is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. FEMA is on board now. If you have a loss, you can register with FEMA. There's a number, 1-800-621-3362, or go to disasterassistance.gov and register, but also check with your insurance first. That's their first line of defense. And I know insurance has been bumpy, but people still have insurance. Check with your insurance provider, and then register with FEMA if you have a loss. And then we're going to have to go through the recovery process, the debris cleanup, and working together to get the community back up online.
Mark Ghilarducci, I really appreciate the conversation this morning. It's been very helpful.
Well, I was really happy to be with you again, and my heart goes out to all the people who have had loss, and this is always a very, very tough situation. And so thanks for having me on to talk about this.
Absolutely. We'll be talking with Queen Afua next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The Palisades fire has burned over 17,000 acres in West Los Angeles and remains uncontained. The wildfire, which has been burning since Tuesday,